Hello, welcome to this easy Windows machine this time. I honestly prefer to do Linux machines, but if you need to attack a Windows domain or some network, of course it's also good to have some knowledge in Windows. Why I prefer Linux most of the time is because they have a website which you need to attack, so it could be some file upload, disclosure, or I feel like there's a lot more variety in how you can get onto a system compared to just a Windows thing. That being said, you have to get access to the computer, so initial access, via an account which has Kerberos pre-authentication enabled. This should be, I believe, in the newer versions of Windows, so from 2018 onwards, it is disabled by default. But you can basically ask the ticket granting server for a ticket and would grant you a ticket granting ticket, which is like a hash of your name. So you can just use it and then, you can actually crack it and it has an easy password. Once you get onto the system, you're a member of the account operators group, which has some privileges such as creating new users, I believe. And via this user, you can actually add yourself to the administrators group, or not specifically administrators, but it's like a, I'm reading there, exchange group membership. So let's get started. First of all, I'll run an mmap scan. I'm just gonna show the mmap scan instead of, going into it, basically. So I'm just gonna say forest, and then we have nmap. So this is gonna be the mmap scan, and this one is the DNS, and you can try to interact with it. So if I just split this, and I'll go into, I think it's name server or NS lookup. Let's look up, and then we'll have to do 10.10.10.161, which is the IP address. How was I supposed to do this again? Hexbox.local maybe. Let's look up, and I think it was host 10.10.161 maybe. Okay, sorry, I'm not sure. I don't have notes on this one, but basically you can't find anything useful inside of this DNS. Then we have 88. Which is like the Kerberos. I think this one is the one you ask for a ticket granting ticket. And then we have the Microsoft RPC NetBIOS. And then this is the interesting one, which is LDAP. These ones I haven't really looked into. This is SMB client, but there's no shares. I think you can do SMB client. Yeah, there we go. You can do no authentication, but you see there's no shares. So this one also isn't really that interesting. So what we're going to do, we're just going to go into use LDAP. And for that, we have LDAP search. I'm going to go over the command. Actually, I don't want to use that one. I'm just going to do this one. LDAP search. And then we have the host. So how I'll show it is just by going over help. If I now go into here, we can see we have the LDAP uniform resource identifier, which is basically your host, basically. Another thing we're going to do is use X, which is simple authentication, I believe. Here it is. And then there's another thing, which is first you can try those and see if you get any results. So I'm just going to click back, and then we're going to do a host, and it's going to be ldap.//10.10.10.161, and then we can do an X and basically this. So now you see we get something, but we basically search for nothing, I believe. So now we can actually search. I believe it's a search, but I'm not certain. It is as scope. Yeah, so it's scope. So you can choose one of base, one sub, or children. We're just going to choose base, and we see we get a lot of them. And the way you could filter this is just put behind it whatever you want. I'm specifically interested in the naming contacts. I'm just going to say naming contacts. I believe this is this. And now we can see basically the domain itself. So this one is the one you actually want to use to specify your scope, because we're just sort of going to look into this one. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go back, and we're going to remove this scope thing, and we're going to create it to B. Sorry, I didn't do this. B, I think it was for base. Yeah, so you're just going to look through these domain name. No, it's not domain name. Well, I'm not sure what it is. At least we're going to look through it. I went all the way back. I don't know how we did that. So we're going to use LDAP search, and instead of base naming contacts, we're just going to use this LDN search, or I think it's server name, almost certain. Why is this red? I haven't seen red. I don't know what I did, but it's red. It has become red. So we're just going to go look into this base, and we see we get a lot of results again. And the way you should be able to look through it, for example, if I grab user, you can see users actually. So this is something you can use to sort of, get to know more users. Another thing you can do, which I believe is it's not PowerShell, but it's just the LDAP command, how it works. You can actually specify, for example, something you want to see. So in this case, I'll just use object class. So this one is like the one you want to select. And you can do a person or a user. And I'm not getting anything, which is weird. Why not? I was really expecting something. Wait. Person? Have I done... Oh, here. Okay, yeah. This is actually the one I just created. But the way you could go about this is just look through it. It's easy to grab things because then you will have to, you see less. So we can do... Actually, I think you can do SM count name, maybe. Yeah, so you still get a lot of stuff, but I think it just filters it this way. So you can also do a type, for example, so you can see what kind of type it is. I believe this is just like the default user you have, I believe. What we're going to do, we're just going to grab as a ma, like this, and this gives you a lot of the names. What I'm not sure about, and I haven't figured it out, is how to get to the user actually we want to use. Because you see we have Lucinda and Andy, and in between these there's supposed to be another count. I'm not sure why, but it's not giving these a count. So what we can use is RPC client. Client, if I can spell. It's not. It's in packet. Why can't I find RPC client? That's weird. It's RPC client. Yeah, okay, sorry. RPC client, not RPC client. RPC client. Okay. What we can do is user. I'll show the help message again to verify things. We can see users are going to be the user, so that's an easy step, right? We're just going to specify which one we want, and we're just going to select null. This is something which has been enabled on ancient machines. I believe it's disabled by default now, but still some have it. I think this is called null authentication. And then we're just going to go through the IP address, and sometimes you see there was a logon failure. For some reason, you have to provide no pass, even though I'm not specifying any users, which is weird. If you do this, you can actually click tab to see all the possibilities. So if I click that, and it doesn't do anything. It has frozen. Okay, there it is. So you can see all the users. The one I'm interested in is just defining like what users there are. So I'm just gonna do enum dom, and then I think you can do tab. You can see enum dom users. So we will get all the users, and you see this SVC alfresco, which we didn't see before. That's kind of weird. I'm not sure why it's showing up in RPC client and not in the LDAP protocol. So I'm still trying to figure it out, but as of now I haven't. So if you know it, just let me know. What you can do with this is you can actually, for example, see in what kind of groups he has. So query user groups, and I believe you have to do his RID. So 47B it is, and you can see which kind of groups he is. If you want to know what the names of these groups are, you can do query, and it's, I believe, just group. Yeah, group 0x47C. So you can see he is member of service accounts, which is something we want, right? So now that we know this, so we have this SVC alfresco user. It actually doesn't specifically matter because we know it's a member of service accounts. What we're going to do now is just run in packet, and then we have the get MP users, I believe it was. Why am I so bad at this? Get NP users. I have to do capitalizing. Right. So we're just going to specify the DC IP, which is going to be the same one we used before. So this one, if I can type. And we're just going to request, so we're now requesting this ticket granting ticket. And I believe it's just trying every single one, I believe it is. And I think, yeah, so it's going to specify it with alfresco. The way you can crack this is you can use John, which I believe has some, it has some way of like figuring it out. What you can do, we can just put it inside of a hash, go out of it. And what we can do, we can just use John. And then we have hash, and you can just specify the word list you want to use. I'm just going to use is user share word list, and then we have rockq. I think it finds it quite quickly. Another thing you can try to do if you see that it has this in front of it, what you can actually do is copy it, go to the internet, go to hashcat example hashes, and they have a page. You can also look through their documentation, but I find this more easy to use. So you can see 18,200. So this one found it, but the way you can use hashcat if you prefer that, we can choose hashcat, this one, and you can set the module to this 18200 thing. What? I don't have to do that. This one. Sorry. Specify parameter can use. Where is that? Rocky 60. What am I doing wrong? Must be number. What's this? Maybe I don't have to do this. Maybe. 18200 hash. Okay, I don't know. Some way of how it runs that. Right. So we got the username of service, and see this cracked it also. I'm not sure which one is faster. So this one ran in 7 seconds. John ran it in, we're gonna see it in 9 seconds, but maybe because, you know, it just depends. I think John on average is faster if you set the right things, because I set it to 18,020. Right, okay, so now that we have the password, we can actually log in. How we can do it? We can just use evil winrm, which is a tool that we can go into the computer we want. So it's going to be 161. Then we have the user of SVC al fresco, and then the password, of course, which is going to be service like this. It's going to log you in. So this way, how you can find it, if we just go to his desktop, I believe there's the flag. So type user.txt, we can actually see the flag in its glory, which is going to be the first step. I have to do some debugging because I want to figure something out. So I'll be right back with how to get more privileges. All right, here I am again. I think I figured it out, so I'm just going to start it. Honestly, from this step onwards, I'm not really familiar with privilege escalation inside of Windows. So what I'm going to do, I follow the walkthrough. I'm just going to try to explain and see what it does. I know it's not going to be perfect because I can't explain every single detail, but you know, at least I'm trying to sort of follow along, which I think might be good enough. So what we're going to do, we're just going to go into a new terminal, and we're going to run Bloodhound Python. So this one is a tool to generate the logs. You can also use Sharphound on the target, and I believe Bloodhound Python is the same, but you run it from your own host and you immediately get the files. So we're just going to specify the domain, which is going to be hackerbox.local. Then we have, of course, this user, which is going to be alfresco again. And then we have the password of service like this. And then we have, GC, I'm not familiar. I think it's just group. I'm not sure. You have to do hackerbox local, right? Scope is going to be all. So this one is outputting like JSON files, and you can choose, for example, if you only want the groups or only the user, which you're going to have to do everything, because that makes everything look like better, I believe, inside of Bloodhound, which we're going to run. So this one is just collecting information. The way you have to run Bloodhound, you have to install it. I think you can do it with sudo apt install Bloodhound. But I've already installed it, so I'm just going to run it. You have to make sure your database is running, because that's the one it's going to be using. I think if I just go to, I have to start this. I believe this is the one, Kali. So Neo4j is the type of database they use. It's already running. Yeah, okay, so you might have to start it again. We're just going to run Bloodhound. I have already set the password. You have to change this by default, so that's why it's logging me in this quick. And normally what you should do is upload data, and you have to go into like wherever you saved it, and you will see these JSON files, right? So what we're going to do, we're just going to go and look for our users. So SVC alfresco, and you're going to click it. And normal time, what you do to make things more easy for yourself, you set it as owned. So it's a quick note for yourself, and I believe you have some more functionality within Bloodhound that could help you, sort of escalate the things. You could do some analysis here. It's a lot of things which, give some information. If you go to analysis, there's actually one which is called the shortest path to, which is exactly the thing you want. I think you have to just figure these things out, because these could be any of the ones, or these ones could be any of the ones to grant you more privileges. The way we want to do it is, I think we wanted to use high value targets, I believe. This is the domain. And this is like a whole mesh of things, but we can see our user, right? This is our user, which has service accounts, which is the member of, and this one is a member of the privileged IT accounts. And from here on, we can go to account operators, and that one has write DASL, so the authority to write to hackerbox.local, so you can actually sort of create administrators, I believe it was. It's a whole mesh and you don't need a lot of this. And I can't explain every detail of it, but that's at least what I picked up from it. So what we're going to do, we're just going to go back to our WinRM module. We're just going to add a user. So the way you can do it is net user, and you have a lot of commands, but you're just going to do the name, password, and then /add to add the thing. So I'm just going to use test, and I'm going to do test 1, 2, 3 exclamation mark. And then we're just going to add, and we're going to add it to domain. This one doesn't. The group already exists. The group is already running. Wait, has someone already made this? I'm just going to do bird. I can't believe someone made it. It might be a default one. Right, we're just going to add this to a group. So it's going to be exchange Windows permissions. We're just going to do bird /add. And if you will look at Bloodhound, where is it? This one is going to be where we're sort of adding it to. So exchange Windows permissions. So we're now part of this. And our next step is to sort of get into this. Wait, which was the one we wanted? I'm so lost. It's the remote management. So lost in this. All right, I'm just going to try to follow along with my notes. So we have to also change some things. So we're adding it to the exchange Windows permissions and remote management users. Wait, this might ring a bell. Remote Windows permissions is what we added it to, and then we're going to do it to... Where is our user even? All right, sorry, I'm just going to continue. Local group, it's going to be remote management users. And it's going to be bird again, and then we have to do /add, which completed successfully. Now we're just going to create a password. The way you do it inside of PowerShell is you have to create a sort of secure string, which is what we're doing now. And then we can do, what was our password again? I think I did, well, test 1, 2, 3, this one. That's the one we made. And then we're just going to do it as plain. I'm not sure what as plain does. Sort of not recognized. I'm misspelling so much. So, okay. Then we have to create our credentials. So this is like a credential pair. We're just going to do a new object. So we're creating something. And we're just going to do a system.management.automation.ps credential. And honestly, I'm not familiar with what this is. I just know it works, and I tried it, and I believe it's just creating this sort of object which makes things work for you. Now, the next thing we have to do, you have to import PowerView. There's multiple ways to do it. I'll let you figure that one out. But what we're going to do, we're just going to add this object ACL with principal identity. Then we have the bird, and then we have this credential pair, which is just going to be the one we created, which is cred. And then we're going to do the rights, so the one you want to give it, which is DC sync. Not recognized. All right. What we're going to do, we're just going to go back, and we're going to go to documents. I have this thing here. I'm just going to import it, import PowerView to PS1. And I believe now it should work. Oh, sorry, import module. I'm so used to Python. It was not loaded because no valid document name was found. I believe maybe // is the one we need. And now we should be able to run it, I think. There we go. I think it's running. This one added us to the users. So basically, it has created this bird thing, which actually has a lot of rights right now. So we're just going to go to a new one. I'm just going to do the impacket secret stump. And we're going to do hack the box /bird at 10.10.10.161. It's going to ask you for the password, which I should remember, which was test 1, 2, 3 exclamation mark, I believe. And it's going to dump all the hashes of all the users because it's member of this. It has right decimal right on exchange Windows permissions, which has rights to this one. That's at least what I believe. Our next step is going to be to sort of crack this hash. Well, actually, you don't even need to crack it, because this is an older version. You can actually just copy the hash and do a pass the hash. So the way you want to do pass the hash, you just copy it from whatever account. So you can do guest, KRBGG, best one is trying administrator because that one has most of the rights. So we're going to do inpacket ps_exec, and it's going to be administrator at 10.10.10.161, and then we have this hashes one, and I believe this should grant you access to the machine. So if we now go to the users and the administrator, then his desktop /desktop, there you have to flag, which is basically the one you want. It was like, if I look back at it, I still don't understand most of the steps I did. I think I sort of do, but at the end it was quite a difficult Windows machine in my opinion. And I believe Ipsek's walkthrough went on for about like almost 2 hours. And most of his walkthroughs on easy machines are like 30 to 40 minutes. So this one was definitely maybe medium. I don't know. It felt like this was a lot harder than it's supposed to be. But then again, I'm not really familiar with Windows machines. I did some in the CPTS path. So, you know, it might be that this one is just the entry level and I'm just not good at it yet. So that was it for this video.